What's chirping, crickets? This is Kim from Kim Takes On. I'm Kim. Hi. And this is my co-host, co-producer, and minister of all things wacky, Terrence the Wonder Duck. Terrence says hello. He hopes you're all having a terrific week out there. So, what are we going to talk about today? Well, today we're going to talk about movies. And we're going to talk about one thing that is in every single movie ever. Do you want to guess what it is? Do you want to guess what it is? No, it's not product placement. You're right, but no, that's not it. No, what I'm talking about are the end of a movie. Every movie has an ending. Now, whether or not the ending is an ending where you feel, like you want to jump out of your seat and go, yay, like the end of Rocky 2, when Rocky wins the belt, and yo, Adrian, I did it, and stuff like that. Or it's an ending that makes you cry or something like that, oh, honey, there's no place like home, that kind of a deal. That depends on you. But one thing that is supposed to happen with a movie is you are supposed to feel something at the end. The thing you are not supposed to feel at the end of the movie is WTF. These are movies that I'm going to talk about here that all have an ending that make you go, what? Wait a minute. That's it? Now, does that mean these are bad movies? No, not all of them. Some of them are bad, but not all of them. Just saying that up front. One of the movies that I would like to talk about that is not a bad film is a film called A Prairie Home Companion. This was a really interesting film that is about the radio show, A Prairie Home Companion, being done as a drama and a movie and stuff like that. And it's about the fact that the show is being canceled, and it's, all these people are going to be out of work and all this stuff like that. But they decide they're not going to tell the audience this is their last show. They're just going to go out there and, do their show. Now, while all of this is going on with their production, this woman appears backstage who is not part of the show, a woman in white who it turns out was someone who used to listen to their show until she died in an accident. And now she is an angel called Asphodel. Okay. And apparently she is, if not the angel of death, apparently an angel of death. I'm not sure. Because she does help an elderly member of the cast to move on to what's ever beyond this plane of existence. She's there and is very kind to him, actually. So when we get to the end of the movie, which is a terrific movie, if you've never seen it, you really should. So we get to the end of the film and we're at a diner, and it's some time has passed since the closing of the theater. And all of the people are getting together and they're like, oh, hi, how you been? What have you been doing? And all this stuff like that. And they're all talking and laughing and having a great time. And then the door opens up and there's Asphodel. And she walks in and she walks over to their table and they see her and they stop talking and everyone's kind of just looking at each other and the film ends. And I'm sitting there going, what? No, wait, no, movie. This is not acceptable. This is unacceptable movie behavior. Now, I realize A Prairie Home Companion was directed by Robert Altman, and a lot of Robert Altman films are, well, you have to figure them out for yourself. You have to figure out the ending for yourself. No, I don't accept that. I was completely like, no, you have to tell me. Let's assume for a minute I'm dumb and I need to know what's happening. Is she there to take someone to the great beyond? What's going on? Tell me! No, we don't get that. What we do get is a very pissed off Kim. But even with that, and also spoilers abound on this show, sorry. If you've never seen A Prairie Home Companion, you should check it out because it is a really good film. Another really good film that has an ending that pissed me off. The noir classic Chinatown. Now, I know a lot of people out there who are watching this show Hello? Have probably seen Chinatown. Know what Chinatown's about. Know that some of Chinatown has stuff in it that I probably can't talk about because bleh. But we get to the end of the film, and basically, too long didn't read. Rich people can literally get away with any horrible thing because they're rich people, and they're bad. I remember sitting there and watching this film in my very own living room. I had a hairy cat fit. I was completely like, forget it, Jake, it's Chinatown. And the camera starts pulling back, and I'm like, no, movie, you come back here. You come back here right now. Right? Son of a bitch. Oh my gosh, I was so angry by the end of that movie. Because it's real life. Bad people who have a lot of money seem to be able to get away with a lot of shit.
And that's her one political remark for the show. Hooray. You think you're so funny, don't you?
Sorry, I have to look off camera because I have to look at my notebook. Okay, now I've mentioned 2 films so far that are great, but have WTF endings. This next film sucked and had an ending that made me just want to chew nails. I was so angry. It's a film called The Future. Now, if you've never heard of it, good. The Future is about a couple who decide they're going to adopt a cat. Now, the cat has several medical issues. And before they can adopt the cat, they feel like they need to do all this other stuff in their life so they can devote all of their time to taking care of this cat. All right. So we go through a whole bunch of stuff. And as we're watching this film, I'm sitting there going, I don't like these people. Now, I realize that's a bit of a brave choice for a director to make. Because usually when you have the main characters of your film, at least one of them should be a person that you like, that you want to see succeed, or something like that. Now, what I'm going to talk about is not the complete end of the film, but it's close enough. When we got the line,
and then it happened. I died.
Now, TC and I have a very special relationship. Besides the fact that we've been together for 3 decades, which is nuts because he puts up with my crap. It's amazing. But we can suss out each other's emotions when other people can't. And he was sitting there next to me and I could feel him going, oh no, oh shit. She is going to go absolutely Godzilla in about 5 seconds and I'm not going to be able to stop it. I did not go Godzilla. I came very close. And when we got to the end of the film, TC had me by the shoulders and is like, okay, we're going to go outside now. Because there was another film. It was at a film festival. And also the director was there and he's like, I do not want her unloading 900 F words at the director. So we're going to go outside now, Kim. We're going to take some deep cleansing breaths. We're going to take them in. Then we're going to take them out. We're going to clear our chi. We're going to align our chakras. Please don't cause a scene, honey. I didn't. But I was pissed. These people, the characters in the movie, are such a bunch of selfish, self-involved... I'm not going to use that word. Buttholes. They forget to pick up the cat, and the cat is euthanized. And there's more stuff in the movie after that, but not a lot more. And I really couldn't tell you what it was, because after we got, and then it happened, I died, my brain went... boop! And I had the blue screen of death pop up in my head, and it was just, we're sorry, Kim is unavailable right now. Please call back later. I was just, oh my gosh, I was so mad. This film was one of the most pretentious, things I've ever. This film is what I would think it would be like to be thrown on the surface of Jupiter without a spacesuit on. You'd be crushed flat by the atmosphere. Ugh. All right. Next up with a what the F ending is a film from the 1970s. Now, the 1970s were a very interesting time to be alive, not only because of the premiere of Star Wars. The 1970s were also the decade when people started looking around and realized, hey, we're treating the planet like a trash dump, and oh my gosh, we live here. This is a bad idea. We need to fix this. You know, you had the PSA with the crying Native American gentleman. You had Woodsy Owl, give a hoot, don't pollute, hoo-hoo, and all that stuff like that. And you had a lot of films where basically it was nature striking back against human beings because we're a bunch of selfish dickheads. Okay, that makes sense. And you had a lot of these films where it was nature striking back through animals. And one of those films is a film called Phase 4. And Phase 4 is basically about the idea that this wave of energy from outer space boosts the evolutionary intelligence of many different kinds of animals on Earth all at once, including ants. Now, when I say ants, I don't mean ants that are suddenly mutated so they're like the size of a bus, like in Them or something like that. They're still regular little teeny tiny ants. But now they're smart. And now they've decided that human beings need to shape up or ship out. And they're going to be doing the shipping. We get to the end of the film after a bunch of people have been killed, and there's a bunch of, scientists and a lot of science talk and a lot of, oh my gosh, is this ever going to end? And we get to the end of the film where there's people sliding down sand tunnels and people having sex and people being telepathically talked to by ants and close-ups of ants and close-ups of human eyes and just, what? I'm sorry, by the end of this film, I'm like, I don't feel illuminated. I feel bored and like ripped off and confused, and I have a headache. So, good job, movie. All right. Next up is a film from the 70s, again, I believe late 70s. The Black Hole was the Disney company's attempt to cash in on some of that sweet, sweet Star Wars money, which was really friggin' obvious by their use of robots in the film. Although the big difference was the fact that I, as a young child, was sitting there watching The Black Hole and going, hey, that robot's a lot like R2-D2, except for the fact that I cared about R2-D2 and I don't care about this robot. Why am I at this movie? The movie basically is about a group of explorers, space explorers, that wind up on another ship that is run by a captain who is completely nuts and wants to drive his ship into a black hole, basically for science and all that kind of crap. The end of the film is a complete what the F fever dream, religious allegory, noise being made that is so loud and piercing and awful that I'm literally a small child in the theater holding my hands over my ears going, I don't like this, please make it stop. This film is a mess. The end of this film is completely religious allegory. Why are we doing this now? Because there hasn't been any religious allegory through most of the movie as far as I know. And then we get to the end of the film and we get out the other side of the black hole and we're fine? Say what? I'm completely like, no. I don't, no. This is a stupid movie. And it's a stupid movie. I'm sorry. All right. Going on to another film, which is terrible. I mean, absolutely terrible. Birdemic, shock and terror. If you have not seen Birdemic, count yourself lucky. A film that is basically Alfred Hitchcock's The Birds without Alfred Hitchcock or talented actors or good special effects or a plot that wasn't already done by Alfred Hitchcock. Birdemic is about humanity being besieged by birds who have all of a sudden decided to attack humans en masse. Types of birds that never would have worked together previously are all of a sudden bad CGI attacking people and diving into things and automatically blowing up. There are a bunch of jokes I could make. None of them are PC. Most of them are probably going to get me in trouble if I do them, so I won't. And then we get to the end of the film, and the birds just leave. The last shot is of people watching the birds flying out over the ocean, and they're leaving. And I know somebody's going to go, but Kim, isn't that the end of The Birds? Alfred Hitchcock's The Birds, where the birds just stop attacking people? Yes, but that wasn't done with CGI birds that look like crap. Sorry, don't know how else to say it. I'm sorry. And I feel bad about saying it because I don't know anything about how to be a good, computer program person, but I'm sitting there going, this is complete crap. So if you haven't seen Birdemic and you actually want to, Terrence and I will both pray for you. All right. Next up, I realize I'm going to get in trouble for this one. Twister. Now, why I'm going to get in trouble is because TC is a disaster movie fan. And he liked this movie. But even he admits the end of this movie makes no damn sense. At the end of the movie, two of our protagonists are running from a tornado. And they wind up in this, I believe it's a pump house at a farm. They wind up tying themselves to some pipes, and then the tornado smashes into the building they're in. It all gets boards flying everywhere, stuff flying everywhere, people flying up in the air, kind of tilted because they're tied to stuff. And then, the tornado is gone, and our heroes are still alive, and everything's great. And I'm like, no. That is not how this would happen. It is absolutely 110% not how this would happen. These people would be battered like fish sticks because there was a bunch of stuff in that building, including the building, which would have battered these people like crazy when it was being, torn up by the tornado. I don't think either of these people would still have clothes on, because I would think their clothes would have been torn off their bodies. I would think that their shoes would have been torn off and maybe possibly their feet still being in them. It's complete and utter nonsense. Nonsense, nonsense, nonsense. I'm calling flim-flammery and bull crap. Trying to censor myself and be good. And last but not least, a film that I've mentioned recently as another film that is a not good film, The Swarm. The Swarm is another one of these Nature Strikes Back films from the 70s. And it's also dealing with another thing that they dealt a lot with in the 70s, killer bees. Between killer bees and Bigfoot, bee was the thing of the decade, I guess. And the end of the film, after the bees have basically killed everybody in a train wreck and blown up a nuclear power plant, don't ask, they're lured out over the water and basically set on fire, and they wind up killing most of the swarm. And that's the end of the film, is this shot of the water, the people standing on the shore watching and stuff like that, as this cloud of bees is destroyed. And all of these bees will go raining down into the ocean, along with all of the fire accelerant and yay for humanity. Again, I was like, this is another one of these movies that I was like, I have a headache. I have a complete headache. Why did they make this movie? Why are there scenes in this movie of schoolyards full of dead children? Thank you, movie. Why is Henry Fonda in this movie? Why? Just why? But, you know, somebody had to make some money, I guess. I hope it was worth it. So those are my films that have some WTF endings. And if you have a film that you've seen that you feel like was a WTF ending, I'd love to know about it. PlatinumRoselle@yahoo.com. I would really love it if you would subscribe to our little island of misfit toys and come check out all our other amazing videos, which we have a lot about lots of different subjects, mostly music. And I hope that you will give them a look, give us a like, give us a follow, check it all out. So for another week here on Kim Takes On, I'm still Kim. This is still Terrence. And we hope that you have an amazing week. Remember to hug the ones you love the ones you hug, and keep rocking.